Hey, what is up? This is a little bit different. I have somebody else with me today. This is my wife.
Hello.
She's originally from Argentina, so she doesn't speak a whole lot of English, so bear with her. But so I don't really do any of my thumbnails for my videos and anything. So what she's going to be doing here today is going to be teaching me how to make thumbnails so I can start making my own thumbnails because she's really busy with all the stuff that she has going on. She doesn't really have a whole lot of time to be making my thumbnails for me.
Especially when you're trying to crank out a video every day. But I just want to teach you how to make these thumbnails, and so we figured we'd make a video about it because this could potentially be useful to some other people. Just want to caveat that this is definitely beginners, and I'm no designer by any means. But
you didn't even mention my Argentinian comment there.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. I was born in Argentina, but I was moved when I was 4, so I know English. So let's just jump into it. We're gonna make a thumbnail for your AI movement spline tutorial, right?
This way a little bit.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That thing.
So I actually already made the thumbnail, but we want to redo it having you create it, or at least me walking you through how I created it. And I guess for when it comes to thumbnails, there's a few questions that you need to ask yourself before you jump into it. And I wrote these down here, and it's these 4 questions. Number 1, what is the video about? And so you want to tell the group?
The video is about splines.
What do splines mean?
Splines are basically, it's a line with 2 points, and you essentially attach the different points together to create a longer line that has a bunch of different points in it so that the AI can move between each of those points. But you can do other stuff with it, like create roads and stuff like that and other stuff. But
okay.
Yeah.
And this is for Unreal Engine tutorials.
Yeah, it's for Unreal Engine.
Okay.
Specifically for NPC movement. That's
okay.
what we're going to be using with the splines.
Cool. Next question, who is your target audience?
Game devs, developers.
Okay, hold up.
People trying to learn Unreal Engine.
Splines. Okay. And based off of your YouTube algorithm, these are mostly guys, right?
Probably.
They are, based off the comments, they
right?
they tend to be what, beginners, or do they know what they're talking about? What are they, intermediate, advanced?
I would say beginner for the most part.
Okay.
Maybe less beginner, I don't know.
Okay, it kind of just depends. But we can't necessarily assume that they know what you're talking about.
No, I assume they know nothing.
Okay, although, how are these people finding your videos? They're either subscribers or they're searching for it, right? Mm-hmm. And so yes. The people who are searching for it know what they're looking for. Like, they'll look for AI movement splines, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Beginner, that knows. And then visually, this is probably an easy one for this specific example, but what visuals can we use from the project?
A spline.
Okay. That works. Let me just change that because that's bothering me. Okay, so we can use splines, and you're doing third person tutorial, right? So we would probably want to show that it's for third person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're going to want to show third person with spline. Okay. And so finally, example thumbnails. This is something to kind of get inspiration to also see who your competition is if you're creating other videos on YouTube. So I already looked up UE5 AI movement splines, and these are the videos that come up. And so we can already see that some of these are kind of more, they're either 2D or you can't really tell like what type of project it is. This first one, however, you can see that this is a third person tutorial in Unreal Engine. So we'd probably kind of follow more this first one, Gorka Games, which I know you sometimes look up. And we want this thumbnail to be something that people recognize, but at the same time stand out. So we'd probably want to do something similar to this one where you have a guy and he's going from point A to point B, but we'd want it to look somehow different. So with all of these things in mind and looking at those example thumbnails, we can start. First off, we are using Canva. This is a software that a lot of people use for YouTube thumbnails. Canva Visual Suite for everyone. And this is what it looks like when you get the homepage. It's free to use, but if you get Pro, if you get the subscription, then you get access to better stuff, which if you're making YouTube thumbnails, I highly recommend because we're going to be using some of those tools in this video. So yeah, this is Canva, and really what you want to do is just, I already have a page here with all of our previous thumbnails, but you go to New, Design, Create New, and then they have a YouTube thumbnail right here. So you just start and you click. And this is where the magic happens. You can have little predefined designs that you can use, but those are pretty, you can use them. You can try to use them, but sometimes it's better to just start on your own. Here on the tab, you have the different elements. You have graphics, which we're going to look at later, but for an example, like these are certain graphics that you can use, and they have little pictures and you can add it to your designs. You have the text, super simple. Brand, you can ignore that. And then uploads. These are the pictures that you bring in. So for this tutorial, we want a picture that shows third person and it shows the spline movement. Now, it can sometimes be hard to capture these things when you go into your Unreal project. So sometimes I actually just draw it out myself, which is kind of what we're going to do here in a very basic way. But we're going to start first with just getting the initial background image. And so for you guys, you can go and find your own image in your project, but we have already taken one, so we're just going to use this. And when you get to this point, you always want to like crop out these background parts. So you go to edit image, crop, and you get rid of the top part. You get rid of the bottom part and the sides. Okay, and then you can also, if you have Pro, you can take this image and you can clean it up a little bit. If you see like kind of this random point right here and this random point right here, as well as this side part, you can go to edit image and you can do magic eraser, which is super, super handy.
I didn't even know you had Pro.
Yeah, I told you we got Pro.
Yeah.
Yes, we have Pro. It's super handy, and you can just erase little pieces that you don't want.
That's super cool.
Yeah. So you go and you click erase.
I think there's also a controller on there.
Where?
Where you spawn, there's also a like little controller.
Didn't I already hide that?
That's I think that's the lighting.
Okay, well once it's done, then you can just keep going.
Yeah. You can see a little.
What?
It's a controller. It looks like a.
Dude, that is so small. What do you even?
I was just pointing it out. You don't need to get rid of it. I was just saying.
Okay, well now we're gonna get rid of it. But yeah, it's awesome. So here we go. It's like totally clean, and you can use this for things that are way more complicated than this. So it's awesome. So you have this, and you're gonna want to expand it out so you have your whole background. And we want to show the whole path, right? One thing that would be better if we created our own screenshot right now is that these little pieces on the side are asymmetrical and it's a little distracting to the audience, but we're going to ignore that and just make it so it's just one side. But better people will just go in and get a better screenshot, but here we are instead. Okay, so we have our background image, we have our path, because we want to show from point A to point B, where is the AI going to move and how are they going to do it. But you want to tell your audience, what is this about, right? So you need to write your text, and that's where you go into text and you add a heading, subheading, a little bit of body text, whatever. You do this and then you write whatever you want. When you write whatever you want to change the font to something that goes with your audience. In our case, it's a lot of guys, right? So we kind of want to use a more masculine font. And I think the one that we always use is it Mikoto? I believe it is Mikoto, or whatever you pronounce that as. But we're actually going to go back to something. So I usually, when I do this for real, I take a previous copy that I already created and just make a copy and then pull everything that I already like. So I already got like the Mikoto font and all of those things. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to copy and paste it into our design. Like this. Cool. So now we have everything except it says upgrading turrets. And something that to note for placement is when you go to YouTube, you see how it has the timer on the bottom right? It's really small when you go into the search, but if you're watching a video and you know on the sidebar it has all the different recommended videos, that timer is actually kind of large relative to the thumbnail. So if you have something important to say, you don't really want anything on this bottom right corner. That's just like an extra thing to add. I don't want this outline, so I'm going to get rid of that outline. But yeah, and so like in terms of composition, where would you put this? This is kind of like the main part, right? Except we would write, what is it? AI movement for those who don't know what splines are. And then in addition to that, we'd write splines or using splines. Where do you think we should put this text?
Is that me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Not right in the middle of the pathway where the spline would be.
Okay.
Underneath.
Yeah, and that's a good spot because it's pretty open. However, this now kind of looks like a lot of text all in one spot. So what we could do is take this Unreal Engine 5 and move it to the top. And it's nice because it also has like it tells you whether it's in the middle or not. This is not a tower defense tutorial, right? This is just a regular tutorial.
Yes.
So we want to get rid of tower defense. And yeah, so we can just leave this here for now. This is like the basics of the text. It's AI movement using splines. It's an Unreal Engine 5 tutorial, and we don't have anything on the bottom right corner. Our background is this path, but we want to do something with this path, right? We want to show a guy and we want to show the splines of where he's going to go. So something that's really cool about Canva is you can erase the background of your images. So we want to grab an NPC, and we already had this in the past. So I'm going to add page so it's clear. I'm going to pull a screenshot that we took from an Unreal project, and we are going to we just want the guy, and that's it. So to do that, I'm actually going to first crop this out so it's just the guy. Then I'm going to expand it, and you could remove the background here, but Canva is kind of finicky. As you can see, when I go to edit image and I go to crop, it's non-destructive. So the background is actually still there. And because of that, if I want to remove the background, it gets really confused because there's too much stuff going on. So what I really do is I go to snipping tool and I just grab a snip of what I want by itself. And then I do Control V and I get just this guy, and then I delete the larger image so that Canva isn't confused. Take this, make them larger again, and now you click Edit Image, Background Remover. And this is one of the coolest parts of Canva because now you have this super clean image of a guy. So now you have your guy, and I'm gonna make a copy just in case I mess something up, bring him in, and now we want to have him at the start of the path. This is probably too large, but we still want to make him large so that he stands out. And now we have our guy. And we now want to show the splines. And to do this, it's also super simple. You can go to Elements and just bring in a bunch of lines. And this is the part where we speed up the video because it's going to take a minute to do this. Dear me. Always want to be in the picture, huh? Oh no. Oh. we have our guy, we have our splines, and I just kind of made this in Canva rather than taking a screenshot just so I could have it exactly the way that I wanted it. But this is generally what splines look like, so it's good enough for the audience to know that these are splines. So we have our visual, we have our text, but it looks bad, right? Like it looks a little simple. It looks like it's missing something. If you kind of have to take yourself out, we've been making this so we know what we're focused on. It's the splines. But if you're just somebody scrolling, you're probably going to read the text and maybe you're going to look at the guy, but you're not really going to look at the splines, right? That's just kind of like, you're going to look at the splines just as much as you're going to look at the white border path. So we want to point it out a bit. So you can go into elements, graphics, and I'm going to look up arrow. I've come to really like the arrows as a way to highlight things that are important. So I'm going to pull this one out and I'm going to rotate it. Coming from the splines, I'm going to have it point at the spline. I don't like this arrow. And we can flip it so that we have it the way that we want it to be. Actually, let's not do that. Let's do this. And now we're going to shrink it down so that it's pointing where we want to point it. And now it is much clearer to the audience that we want them to look at the splines. But this white color is not really going to work. So what color do you think we should pick for the arrow?
Black?
I would also go for black. Why are you thinking black?
Well, I was thinking red originally, but I was like, that wouldn't match anything else on the screen. That would be kind of like... so black at least matches the color pattern, but it doesn't blend in with the border wall.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too, for all the reasons that you pointed out. Along with, because we have this text at the top, one kind of like design tip is that you want symmetry. And we have this black text up here and we're going to have white text down here. So we kind of want it to look a little bit more symmetrical. So if we use black, it'll kind of go with this top. So that's a reason. Another thing is, if you're an audience and you're looking at the thumbnail, what are you going to read?
What am I going to read?
Yeah.
Which one am I going to read first?
Yes.
Because maybe I need to look away. Look back at it. The white text in the center.
Okay.
Just for the fact that it's in the center, mostly, I think.
Well, that's good because people are already searching for Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. So we want them to look at this part. But when we're looking at this is kind of a lot of text for someone to read. Even though it's not a lot of text, it is actually a lot of text for a thumbnail. So we kind of want to split this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have AI movement and I'm going to have splines be separated. So we have our AI movement and we have our splines. And we are going to keep them separated so that it's a little bit easier, but that doesn't really mean anything if we keep it looking like this. So I'm actually going to add a little background for the splines so that it stands out a bit and it's more like the focus of what we're doing. So I'm just going to go back into shapes and I'm just going to put a shape in the background. We're just going to do this. And for the color, what color do you think we should use here?
Should be like different than the other two. Well, it's not gonna be black, so maybe like a bluish, I guess.
Yeah, I was also thinking blue, mostly because this guy is blue. Like that. Yeah, and so back to like the whole symmetry thing, we can use the same blue as that guy, so it's a little bit symmetrical. And what's nice about Canva is it has photo colors, and it's pulling from our guy, so we can click. Yeah, so this is the same color as him. It's really nice. So we have our background now. It stands out. It looks weird though. It looks, I don't don't know if like unprofessional is the word or something. It just looks off. So we want a border around this. And I was already playing around with what this would look like. And I was thinking it would be kind of cool if we took this and rotated it.
So I was looking at the Gothic castle surrounded by dinosaurs.
What?
On the corner there, generate your own.
Oh,
AI
God,
image.
this. Well, you can always use that. Yeah, that's another thing. I've never really messed around with this because I usually use ChatGPT. But they have all these AI tools as well.
Oh, the cat one looks cute.
Yeah, it does look cute. Are you distracted students?
Sorry.
Okay, so we have this. I think the blue is a little bit too big, so I'm just gonna decrease it a bit. I'm gonna decrease it on both sides, try to keep it symmetrical and move it down a bit. So we have this, and we want to add our border. So you go back into Elements, go into Graphics, and I like the idea of a stamp. So I've already searched it up. You write stamp, and you can pull in this border that can now wrap around this. I don't know why, I just kind of like it. I feel like it looks interesting. Yeah. And we can just fit it into our image. Maybe even like reduce this text a bit so that we can reduce everything else. Sometimes it can be hard to like grab the different pieces, but it's okay. And so now we have this. And for some reason it looks a little funny. I actually want to go back to what I have already created. Yeah, I made it like longer. Okay. Let's see, where are we? Here we go. I made it longer to fit this background. And you probably want to speed this part up. And we have a cat again. Hello, cats. Yummy. Beep beep. So you can tell it gets kind of finicky when you're trying to just like get it the exact way you want it, but I think you get the point. It's just trying to put emphasis on the things that matter, trying to keep things symmetrical, keeping it simple, keeping it catchy, and showing visually what the video is about. And yeah, this is kind of it. This is the thumbnail. I'm probably gonna mess around a bit afterwards to kind of change, make the line straighter or whatever, mess around with this using spline things, maybe change the colors of certain text. But other than that, I mean, that's your thumbnail. Yeah. And something that helps a lot is zooming out or zooming in to try to get a better idea of what the audience is going to see, since they're seeing things from probably more zoomed out than like this huge image that we're seeing here. And that can really change the way that you what you decide with the design. Yeah. Do you have any questions?
No, that was, I mean, I'm probably have to watch this video, but yeah, no, I think I watched you make a whole thumbnail, so.
Okay. Well,
so
hopefully that
pretty much
helps.
Everything.
Yeah. I think for the most part, it's like play around with it. Try to maybe Google a bit, like some design essentials, the whole like symmetry thing and weights and whatever. Thinking about your audience, thinking about how much effort you want to put into it. And yeah, that's really it.
Hey, yo, she forgot one thing, so we rewound a bit And here you go.
Yeah, just want to add. Okay, so this guy, he's cool and all, but I kind of wanted to stand out. So if you go and you click him, you click edit image, and you can click on shadows and glow. And that made him smaller, but if you change the color and you make him larger, this is a small detail, but I think it can make a really big difference on it. So he just like stands out a bit more, and the white and blue goes more with the text, the white and blue over here too.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I will start making my own thumbnails, and yeah, I might bring it back to you to look over them, but
I can still make the thumbnails, but maybe not every single day.
okay.
Okay, cool. Well, that is it. If you guys have any comments or questions, just write it. I can't guarantee that I'll have the answer, but you can at least try, and we'll see.
All right. Thank you so much. And audience, bye.
Bye.